Hello, everyone. We are going to read chapter three of We Were Kids Who Found Their Way Through the Cosmos. Chapter three, The Law of Attraction, Square. James and Malika, both 17 now, are outside by the basketball hoop in their neighborhood. The two of them kiss and hold each other's hand as they say goodbye. James, are you coming over? Yeah, if your family will have me, Malika responds. You've been coming to my house for dinner since we moved here, so you're practically part of the family. Malika smiles and James returns the smile along with a gaze as they enter James' house. James uses his computer as Malika sits by his side. The door is open to make sure that James' mother can hear anything and everything going on. Malika was curious about what James is doing on the computer since he seems to have zoned out and stopped talking mid conversation. Malika, hey, what you doing? James, engrossed in his computer, doesn't even look at Malika. He continues to scroll and answer her questions right before she became too annoyed by the silence. Looking up properties, why? James stops scrolling, turns his chair, and faces Malika. He gazes into her eyes and says, just imagining what our lives would be like on the other side of town. Malika sighs. She thinks about the scenery on the other side of town, beautiful shops, the carefree energy of the wealthy compared to their situation. Malika smiles at James and hugs him. Her gaze falls to the computer screen and sees the house James was looking at. That would be nice, huh? A home on the other side of town. Must be triple what our homes are worth. Check this out. Flicks through the photos to reveal where the house is located. Malika can now see the whole house and comprehend what it would be like to have the opportunity to live in such a plush house. James becomes frustrated with himself, wishing that this house was not out of reach for his family. That house is 10 minutes from here. It's so big. It has six bedrooms and three baths. Malika, grown enamored by the beauty of the home and how green their grass is, turns to James and says, that home is breathtaking. James focused on one day having a life of grandeur. Calmly holds onto Malika's hand and looks into her eyes. I'll buy the house for us one day. You know how hard it will be to get a job that pays well enough to live on and save the money needed to buy a house like that. For you, I'll work every hour possible to bring you a home like this. Malika hates when James says such things, as she feels undeserving of these kind words. Her mother told her she'll end up just like her, so such things will not be possible. The thought of that happening fills her with dread, so much that she doesn't know how to accept the compliment without either rushing to give one back or standing there awkwardly not knowing how to receive it without feeling weird. Mika pushes James' shoulder, then grabs his face so she can give him a peck on his cheek. Patricia knocks on the door. Hey, do you two want a snack? She knows full well that the two can eat a family out of a house. James smiles at his mom and says, yes, please. Malika gives a more respectful yes, referring to James' mother with her last name, yes, Miss Rose. I'll make you guys a grilled cheese sandwich. Come to the dining room table in a few. Thank you, Miss Rose. Malika chimes in. Patricia smiles at Malika. No worries, your family. Patricia walks away from the room. James looks at Malika. You heard that? Your family. Malika smiles at James mockingly. No, I'm not. Why do you say that? James asks. Well, because there's no ring on my finger. Malika flaunts her empty finger at James. He smiles and tries to bite it, but Malika smiles and pushes him away. James slides his chair close to Malika and gestures her to come to him. Get away, you're nasty, Malika laughs hard. A few minutes later, Malika and James eat their grilled cheese sandwiches at the dining room table. Mom, this is really good, James says, as he takes the last bite of his sandwich. Yes, Miss Rose, it's really good. Thank you. You two are some hungry teenagers, Patricia walks out of the kitchen and enters her bedroom. Malika finishes eating and wipes her mouth of any crumbs that might be left from the grilled cheese. Speaking in a lower tone to make sure that James' mother or sister doesn't hear her, she says, hey, I have an idea. James plays along, lowering his tone to what? Malika looks at James and takes a deep breath before she expresses her idea. What if we go check out our future house? James gets excited, not sure if she really means what he thinks he means, or what do you mean? James' demeanor exudes curiosity. Let's go see the house that you were showing me on your computer. Are you down for that? James smiles and gets up from the dining room table. I would love that, but we don't have money for a cab or anything. I know. Let's ride our bikes. I don't even know if my bike still works, James says to the idea. Well, we won't know unless you check your bike. James shrugs his shoulders and tries to make sure that she really wants to ride their bike to the other side of town. You sure? Malika smiles, stands up from the dining room table, and gazes into his eyes and says, Let's ride. She runs out of the house and James follows behind her. Malika runs to the back of her house and grabs her pink mongoose bike as James goes into the shed in his backyard to grab his all black Pacific mountain bike. They run to the front of their houses with their bikes and begin to ride out of the neighborhood. Jasmine gazes outside her window to see Malika and James on their bikes. Malika waves her hand for her to join them. Jasmine just smiles and shakes her head to indicate no. Malika shrugs her shoulders in response as they both continue to ride their bikes, going through town. As they ride, James and Malika would challenge one another on their bike. Malika would get James' attention by riding with one hand for a little bit. James, welcoming the competition, would ride his bike with no hands until they had to make a turn. As they ride across the town, they see the stores that they've always wanted to go into, but are stared away by the prices. They ride through the small downtown area where they see all the boutique shops, the floral shops, Sal's Italian. They also see a well known butcher where you can get a fresh meats and a bunch of different eateries that James dreamt of trying someday. As they approach their destination, Malika and James ride their bikes as slow as they can without losing momentum. They wish to relish the moment and see all the beautiful homes that appear to be massive compared to their own. The streets are quiet, and if you turn your head to the left, you just see a beautiful lake with seagulls floating on top of the water. 2 minutes later, they reach their destination and see the big grand house that has 6 bedrooms and 3 baths. As they gaze at the house, James and Malika speak to one another, admiring the size of the house, the beauty of the well maintained lawn, along with the flower bed, and how it looks nicer than every house that they've seen in this very rich and affluent neighborhood. James turns to Malika now. One day, I'm going to have keys to a house just like this for both of us. Really, how? Malika asks. Hard work and savings. You ever heard of a book called The Secret? No. What's it about? The book is about manifesting the things you want using a universal law that binds us all. They call it the law of attraction. What the hell is that? Look, I don't know if it's true, but the law of attraction is like a philosophy. It states that positive or negative thoughts bring positive or negative experiences and things in one life. Malika, intrigued by the way James is explaining the theory from this book, asks enthusiastically, Really? James nods his head. I mean, that's what some believe. So, how do we bring positive experiences? What do we have to do? James says, I like to close my eyes and picture what I want to receive and do all that I can to hold on to it. James says, I like to close my eyes and picture what I want to receive and do all that I can to hold on to that vision of myself having the object of my desire in my possession. Then take the time to write it out and visualize it. So, how do we bring positive experiences? What do we have to do? Malika asks. James responds, I like to close my eyes and picture what I want to receive and do all that I can to hold on to that vision of myself having the object of my desire in my possession. Then take the time to write it out and visualize it happening again. You never told me that this is something that you've done before. I know. I thought you would find it weird. Not at all. I'm actually very curious about it. What is something you've attracted? I attracted you, James smiles and looks back out to view the house. No, you didn't. I just happened to live next door. Yes, I did. I knew the first time I saw you. You were cute then and knew I wanted to be your best friend. Now that I have accomplished that, the next step would be trying to attract this home for us. How can I help us get this home? Malika says, gesturing air quotes to James. James replies with a serious answer. You have to have the same thought as me. It's like when we go to church and all the members at the church do prayer wishes. The pastor asks the members of the church to pray for something, someone's health or a breakthrough, or for an abundance of blessings. It's the same thing here. It's just a focus between us and the universe. Oh, that makes sense. Show me what you would do to attract this house. All right, look at the house. Imagine us living in it. We're having a great time making our parents' favorite dishes while they visit us. You see that picture? Malika smiled with her eyes closed. Yeah. Now open your eyes and take a mental photo of that house. Malika looks at the house, now with the memory locked in your mind. Tell yourself that the house in front of you belongs to you. Malika repeats what James says to her. This house in front of me is mine. This house in front of me is mine. Now expect it, and in due time, it will be ours, James says as he hugs Malika. They both kiss one another and gaze out one last time at their dream home before they ride bikes back to their actual home.